Welcome to Creepy Chronicles 228.
Would you open a door that breathes cold air? What if something inside already knows your name? Relax, it's just the pipes, right? Except pipes don't whisper. I worked as a night custodian at a middle school for almost 5 years. My shift was the graveyard, 10 at night until sunrise. At first, I liked the peace. No kids sprinting through the halls, no teachers complaining, just me, my cart, and silence. The quiet was comforting, until it wasn't. Because buildings change at night. A school that feels bright and busy during the day turns into something else when the sun goes down. The walls feel heavier. Every creak sounds like a footstep. A locker slams shut on its own. Pipes knock in the distance and your brain swears it's someone following you. I got used to most of that. But one part of the school never felt right. The basement. The school was built in the 1950s. Half of it sat above ground. The other half stretched into a basement of unfinished concrete hallways, storage rooms, and pipes hanging like veins from the ceiling. It smelled of mildew and wet paper. The fluorescent lights buzzed and flickered when they worked at all. More often than not, I needed a flashlight. On my first week, one of the older custodians gave me a warning. Stay out of the basement unless you absolutely have to. It's not worth the trouble. People say it's haunted. He laughed when he said it, but his eyes didn't. And I'll admit, even back then, I believed him. Because the second you stepped through that heavy door, it was like the rest of the school disappeared. You weren't in a middle school anymore. You were somewhere else. Somewhere that didn't want you there. 2 years in, I got a note taped to my cart. Retrieve folding chairs. Basement. My stomach dropped. The only folding chairs were in the second storage room down there. I stood at the top of the stairwell for a long minute, just staring at the door, thinking maybe I could push it off until morning. But I didn't want to look lazy. So I grabbed my flashlight, pushed open the heavy door, and went down. Each step on those stairs echoed like a drum. The air was damp, thick, colder with every step. I flipped the switch at the bottom. Only 2 lights buzzed to life, leaving most of the corridor in darkness. The smell of wet cement hit me hard. I turned on my flashlight and found the second storage room. The door was rusted, screeching as it opened. Inside, stacks of folding chairs leaned against the wall, dusty and uneven. I bent to grab 4 at once, and that's when I froze. From the hallway came a sound. Shh. Shuffle. Drag. Like someone sliding their foot across the floor, slow and deliberate. I held my breath, chairs pressed to my chest, ears straining. Silence. I peeked into the hallway, flashlight trembling in my hand. Nothing. Empty concrete stretching into shadow. I carried the chairs quickly to the stairwell and set them down. On the way back, I felt it. A blast of cold air across my face. Not just cool, freezing. Like someone had opened a walk-in freezer in front of me. But the basement had no windows, no vents, no airflow. I forced myself back into the storage room. But something was off. The stack of chairs looked shifted, leaning differently, like they'd been moved while I was gone. I frowned, shook it off, and grabbed another load. That's when it came again. Thud. Scrape. Farther down the corridor this time. I swung my flashlight beam and froze. About 20 feet away, a door that should have been locked tight was hanging open just an inch, just wide enough for someone to peek through. Every instinct screamed at me to run, but I didn't. I set the chairs at the base of the stairs, took the flashlight, and crept toward the cracked door. Hello? Anyone down here? My voice cracked, sounding tiny in the empty basement. Silence. I shoved the door open. My flashlight lit up dusty science equipment, broken boxes, cobwebs. Nothing moved. I heard it. Dragging footsteps. Behind me. I spun, flashlight cutting through the corridor. Nothing. Just shadows. But I felt it. The pressure in the air. That unmistakable sensation of being watched. My skin prickled. I backed up slowly, never taking my eyes off the hall, until I reached the stairs. I bolted, hauling the chairs 2 at a time, lungs burning, legs shaking. Only when I slammed the upstairs door shut did I breathe again. I locked it. Against the rules, yes, but I wasn't going back. A week later, I was mopping the hallway above the basement when it happened again. 3 loud bangs. Bang! 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 Evenly spaced, like fists slamming on a wall. Then the stairwell handle rattled, violently, like someone was trying to push through from the other side. My mop clattered to the ground as I froze, gripping the handle until the shaking stopped. After that, I refused to go into the basement alone. If something needed to come up, I waited until another custodian was there. I never told anyone what happened. They'd laugh, or worse, they'd tell me it was just the ghost. But I know what I heard. I know what I felt breathing down my neck. And I know what followed me up those stairs. Some places don't want visitors. Some places don't need to show themselves to prove they're real. And to this day, when I think about those dragging footsteps closing in behind me, my stomach twists. If you felt the chill of that basement breathing on your neck, don't turn away. Subscribe to Creepy Chronicles 228, where every hallway hides another story, and the next one might already be waiting for you. Have you ever opened a door at work that wasn't there yesterday? What if it was already waiting for you to notice? Relax. It's just a storage closet, right? Except closets don't breathe. I worked night shifts as a custodian at a high school. If you've ever done this kind of job, you know. You learn the building like the back of your hand. Every creak in the floor, every door that sticks, every light that flickers. That's why what happened one Tuesday morning at 2 a.m. has never left me. I was sweeping the east wing, my cart rattling over the tiles. The hall was long and empty, lockers lined on both sides. That buzzing fluorescent hum was the only sound. Then, at the very end of the corridor, I saw it. A door. Not a classroom, not an office, not even a utility room. Just a plain wooden door with a dull metal knob. I stopped cold. I had worked here long enough to know every single door in this building, and this one wasn't supposed to be there. I pushed the knob. It turned too easily. The door creaked open into what looked like a supply closet. Shelves on either side, lined with bottles of bleach, rolls of paper towels, boxes of gloves. The smell of cleaning chemicals hit me like a wall, so strong it stung my eyes. I stepped back, confused. Why had I never noticed this before? Then something else hit me. The air. It was cold. Too cold. Like I was standing in front of an open freezer. The basement always smelled damp, the classroom stale, the gym like sweat and dust. But this wasn't normal. I pulled the door shut and walked away. The next night, I went back down the east wing, broom in hand. The wall where that door had been? Smooth. Just lockers. No door. I ran my hands along the cinder block. Nothing. Had I been so tired that I imagined it? Thursday night, I turned the corner into that same hallway and froze. The door was back. Same wood, same metal knob, same spot. I hesitated, but curiosity got the better of me. I pulled it open again, shining my flashlight inside. The same shelves, the same supplies. But this time, at the far back wall, I saw something new. A second door. This one was small, half height, almost like a crawl space. A vent in its center pushed out icy air, chilling my skin. I crouched, pressing my ear against it. That's when I heard it. Whispers. Dozens of them. Low, layered, too many to make out words. They rose and fell like a chant, a language I couldn't recognize. The moment I pulled back, the knob on the little door rattled violently. I stumbled backwards, heart pounding, and slammed the main door shut. But the rattling didn't stop. It grew louder, like something inside was trying to get out. I ran the length of the hallway, not daring to look back. When I finally did, the door was gone. For a week I avoided the East Wing completely. But late one night, while mopping near the cafeteria, I smelled bleach. That same stinging chemical smell that had poured out of the closet. I turned the corner and froze. The door was there again. This time, it stood wide open. I crept closer. The shelves were empty. The smaller door in the back hung ajar, swinging slightly as if it had just been opened. On the floor, in the middle of the room, lay a custodian's badge. Not mine. Not anyone I knew. The name was scratched out, edges burned like it had been scorched. I backed away slowly. That's when the whispers came again. But this time, they weren't whispers. They were laughter. Deep, layered, echoing. The lights above me flickered, buzzing louder, casting the whole hallway into strobe-like flashes. I bolted. By the time I brought another worker back, the wall was smooth again. Just lockers, no door, no closet, no badge, no. They didn't believe me. They laughed, said I was sleep-deprived. But I know what I saw. I know what I heard. Somewhere inside that school there's a closet that shouldn't exist. One that moves when it wants to. One that waits for someone to open it. And maybe next time, whoever does won't come back out. If that door appeared for you, would you open it? Or would you walk away? Don't miss the next story. Subscribe to Creepy Chronicles 228, because some doors should never be opened. Do you believe mirrors can hold more than a reflection? What if the thing staring back at you wasn't you at all? Relax. It's just glass, right? Except glass doesn't smile first. I was assigned to clean the gymnasium after events, basketball games, pep rallies, even the occasional dance. It was the worst part of the job. Not because it was hard, but because of the mirror. The gym had one wall covered in a giant floor-to-ceiling mirror for cheer practice. At night, when the lights were dim and the place echoed with every step, that mirror didn't just reflect, it watched. The first time I noticed, it was a Tuesday around 1 a.m. I was sweeping the bleachers, the sound of my broom echoing in the silence. I turned, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw movement in the mirror. My reflection was standing still. But the reflection of my broom, it kept sweeping. I froze. I blinked. And just like that, everything was normal. I laughed it off, just my tired eyes playing tricks. But the next night, it happened again. I was mopping the floor. My reflection mopped with me, in perfect sync. Then, suddenly, it stopped. I kept mopping, but in the mirror, my reflection stood frozen, staring right at me. Its head tilted slowly. Too slowly. I dropped the mop, heart hammering. When I looked back again, the reflection was normal. But I swear, even from across the gym, its eyes still looked locked onto mine. Weeks passed, and I started avoiding the mirror. I kept my head down, focused on the floor. Until one Friday night, after a late basketball game, I was cleaning when I heard it. Tap, tap, tap. The sound of knuckles on glass. I turned. The mirror was empty except for my reflection, but it was smiling. I wasn't. That smile spread slowly across its face, wider and wider, until it looked painful. Its lips curled back too far, teeth showing, eyes unblinking. Then came the sound again. Tap, tap, tap. But this time, the sound wasn't from the glass in front of me. It was from behind. I spun, shining my flashlight. Empty bleachers, empty court. When I looked back at the mirror, my reflection was gone. The glass reflected the entire gym, but not me. I backed up, breathing hard. Then, faintly, I saw movement. Not one reflection, not two. Dozens. Figures shifting in the glass. Shadows with twisted faces, moving where no one stood. They whispered, faint at first, then louder, chanting my name, over and over again. I ran, abandoning the mop and bucket, sprinting for the exit. The next day, I told my supervisor the mirror was cracked. He frowned and said, "There's no mirror in the gym. They removed it during renovations last year." I swore to him it was still there. I described the wall, the way the glass stretched across it. He just shook his head. "Kid, you must be tired. That wall's been plain cinder block since before you started. But I know what I saw. I know what saw me." I quit a month later. Couldn't stand walking into that gym again. But sometimes, when I pass by schools at night, I still glance toward the windows. And sometimes, just sometimes, I catch a glimpse of myself, staring back, smiling, when I know damn well I'm not. If you ever see your reflection move before you do, don't look again. Subscribe to Creepy Chronicles 228, where every shadow hides another story, and your own reflection might be the next one to betray you.